With the second pick of the 20.
This is the Red Hot Reds podcast. Here are your hosts, Ricky Logan and Roger Straz.
Welcome to the Red Hot Reds podcast, Cincinnati Reds podcast, hosted by Red Hot SI writer Ricky Logan and myself, Roger Straz. It is a podcast that covers the Reds from the majors all the way down to the DSL, Dominican Summer League. But we are happy to say that we are back. Live baseball is back. Games that matter are back. It is refreshing. We've been feeling like it's been a long off season covering this team, doing different things, spring training, doing all sorts of different stuff. I don't know, Ricky. It feels good to be back to cover games that matter, and also to be back to be in a situation where we can win a series, keep it moving. Going to play the lowly Pirates next. It's good. I don't know. It's just great. It's almost Easter as well, so it feels like spring is finally here, and we're finally getting decent weather again. I don't know. It's been great. I guess weekend so far. I'm in great spirits. How are you doing?
Yeah, it feels good. We finally won on a Sunday. It feels like turning the tide. I think post game, Tito said that's a game that they probably lose last year, so it feels good to hear that we're turning the page. Feels good outside. Spring's finally officially here, sort of. Had first baseball practices of the year for the kids, so it's been a good weekend so far.
Yeah, same here. It was nice to be outside a lot today. I even texted you like, "Hey, what's the score of the game?" I'm at a park. I don't have no any signal or anything, so got to get the update, and I got a great update. So that was awesome. We'll get into that in a second. But also the thing, I don't know about you. I don't know if I told you. I might have told a couple other people. I was kind of feeling a little bit low. We got some bad news going into opening day with some injuries, some moving some pitchers around. Jose Franco's being added to the opening day roster, and it wasn't, the greatest opening day either, going up against left-handed Crochet and kind of being, rendered 4 hits, and didn't look like we were going to have any threat to score. So, I guess I'm trying not to be a guy where the Reds really heavily influence my mood, but it certainly helps when you win the last 2 out of 3 because, Boston's a good team. And let's get right into it if you want to get right into the recap. There's a lot to get to because a lot of things happened just in 3 games, and that's kind of crazy because like I said, it had the highs, the lows, had some tense moments. It had it all this weekend. Great pitching performances, some extra inning magic. It had everything. I don't know where you want to start, or you just want to talk about the big main topics. But how do you see this series going?
Yeah, we can start with opening day. Offense struggled. They had only 4 hits. South Stewart had 3 of them to kind of leave you there. Suarez, 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. Ellie, 1 for 4, 2 strikeouts. McLean went hitless on opening day. Friedel went 0 for 4. Marte over 2 strikeouts. He was pinch hit by Benson. Andrew Abbott looked really good, although he did kind of look not wild, just not really commanding his pitches the way he normally does, which he looked a lot better than spring training. I'll give him that, but he, he gave up 7 hits. I think that it's a good game to build off for him, but other than that, the bullpen struggled. Connor Phillips, 27 ERA after the first game. Yeah. Ashcraft actually looked good on Thursday, but the bullpen overall just didn't look ideal for what we had hoped. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
The bullpen, yeah, it struggled in terms of game 1 and game 2. We had I guess one of my predictions again that was right. Pierre Johnson seems to have the role that just come in every single day. Oh, what was his name? Barlow. He's got the Barlow role where he's going to be coming in every day, no matter what the situation is. He's pitched all 3 games, I believe, from what I saw, and that's great. You know, if you could do that, like we talked about the offseason, that the Reds led the majors in using guys out of the bullpen with 0 days rest. So it seems like we're going to be doing that again. So it's going to be a matter of how much innings we're going to be eating before those guys have to be called upon. I think Brasinger only went 4, so that's not ideal, and he's got a little bit of blister issues as well. So there was like going into basically until like the extra inning win, there was like some real bad vibes going on, at least for these Red Legs, because it looked like they did enough, and then Boston comes back because the bullpen blows it a little bit again in game 2. But you know, like I think Optimus Prime put it out there with a picture of Tito. It was like, Tito's always having that Dane Myers in his back pocket, so never doubt him again type of post. So that was kind of like, because everybody wanted Dane Myers to start opening day, you know, game 2 and game 3, but he didn't start until game 3. But like that, I guess the main thing that I took away from this weekend is just trust Tito. Like no matter the situation, it may not look great, may look a little bleak, but trust him. He may go on an opening day where he throws Ian Jabot out there and blows the game against the Giants in 2025, but then he'll get this team to the playoffs. So as much as you kind of want to question his lineup decision, his ability to put guys in the right places to make this team better, it will always come out better than, say, other managers that we've had in the past.
Yeah, and I think pitching is like the main thing you can look at with that. Like you said, having Dane Myers coming off the bench is huge. Having, you know, Will Benson coming off the bench is huge. Having a Nathaniel Lowe off the bench is awesome, because those are guys we haven't had in years, talent-wise, off the bench. And seeing, you know, we'll talk about it a little bit next, but like Dane Myers coming through in the clutch on Saturday, just it's awesome. Just, you know, he gets his first hit as a walk-off hit for the Reds. It's awesome. And I think eventually pitching is going to figure it out. And then, you know, I don't think Ellie's going to have this many strikeouts as he's had this series. I don't think he's going to be that guy all year, but I think, you know, he's due to have a breakout game. There are only 3 games in, you know, so it's like all these people, you know, commenting on Facebook and on X and all this stuff about, you know, these guys are terrible, swing the bat. Suarez, you know, terrible, wasted signing. Then he comes through in the clutch today, and it's like, oh, yay, Suarez is back. It's like, it's 3 games. Like, you can't judge a player off the first 3 games of a season. There's, you know, 159 more games left. So I'm excited, especially, you know, this is Tito's second season back after having a season off, and I think he's going to be way more refreshed and more confident in his decisions. And we have far better talent than we've had in a little while. So I feel pretty good about it.
Yeah. Trout William writes in the chat, yeah, he hits it on the nail. The opening loss was not great, but they battled back. And I guess that's also another sign of a Tito Francona team, is that even if they lose in maybe a kind of embarrassing fashion on opening day, barely mustering enough offense to, you know, get bases loaded with 1 out and come away with nothing type of situation, it is refreshing that they're not just going to go away the next 2 days. They're gonna keep battling, continue to keep working. They're going to be able to not get swept, hang the banner. As I think I already put it out there that they're at least at the point where they got 1 series in and they haven't been swept. So shout out to them so far, at least in that department. But then the other kind of thing that runs the gamut in terms of like, the only thing that, you know, in terms of reminds me of 2025 that hopefully isn't going to be a thing going forward as much is going against left-handed hitting. It seems like we still have that you know, that weight on our back, that albatross of not being able to figure out left-handed pitching, and that could be a bad thing going forward if that continues to plague this club. I don't know exactly if they have the answers on the bench. Maybe Dean Myers is that answer on the bench, or the start lineup, right? Like it could be either one. And I think a lot of people obviously want a lot more Dane Myers in there against left-handed pitching, and hopefully we will see that more going forward. But again, it's only one guy. We got to figure it out more than just with one guy. Because like you said, South 2 hit 3 hits of the 4 on opening day, and that didn't get the job done. And that usually will not get the job done. But yeah, I don't know. Any other takeaways from game 2 or game 3?
For game 2, it was cool just getting that walk-off hit, just having that moment for Dane Myers. And then today, just getting Gino coming through in the clutch was just awesome. And we'll talk about more of him here in a little bit. But other than that, just getting a series win to start the season is what we needed to do. Boston's a really good team. We have a kind of, I don't want to, jinx it, like a little bit of a weaker schedule coming up. And I think that if we could take advantage of those teams early, you feel better about our ability to beat the good teams towards the end of the season. And, we have some really good talent that is on the bench, and we have some pitchers that are in AAA that look pretty good that can come up should Lodolo be shelved longer than he has to be. But yeah, I mean, it feels really good to get a series win against Boston.
Yeah, one more comment from William right before we move on to our next topic. Rhett Lauder and Andrew Abbott did show us some stuff today, especially Lauder today, giving up the 2-run home run and battling back to get another solid inning out of him to get 5 innings on the day. I don't think he didn't figure in for the win, I don't believe, today, but
Right.
it was good to see him out there because he's that guy that's the depth piece that we've been talking about. Even though Hunter went down, even though Lodolo went down, we're like, okay, we're gonna be okay. We got Rhett Lauder, we got Chase Burns, we got now Jose Franco. Hopefully they can eat some up, hopefully until Lodolo comes back or what have you, whatever the team looks like in a couple weeks. But yeah, I wasn't terribly worried about, I guess, the pitching. I was more worried about that the pitching will be solid to good to great at times, but the defense become a little bit more. And they did. They did when it needed it most, especially on game 2 and game 3. They came through, like you said. So, yeah. We will move on to, I think, your start comment here. We can throw that out there. But our next guy, Salbert Pujols, is like crazy, just how he started his season. I'll throw this one stat out here, Ricky. Hopefully I'm not stealing it. But Sal Stewart became the first Cincinnati Reds rookie to record 5 hits in his first 2 games and extend his hot streak to 7 hits in 3 games, batting 700 and 13 plate appearances. He recorded extra base hits, 2 RBIs, and a home run. If Chase Lauder wasn't alive, this would be the only guy people would be talking about right now, because like this is kind of crazy that this guy has less than 30 games in his major league career, and he's already like one of our best hitters, at least. I mean, small sample size, but what are your thoughts on Salbert? Do you co-sign this thought? Oh, this is a hot take that happened a little while ago. Is it working? There we go.
The Reds need to be smart business-wise in this season. The Reds need to send Sal Stewart down.
No, they don't. He, like you said, 700, a 2,069 OPS. Nice. The home run, had a couple walks today, didn't strike out today. Man, it feels good to have a player of Sal Stewart's caliber. And yes, I did start this comment for a reason, because I am too.
You co-sign this? This franchise player? Extend him now?
I co-sign it.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about probably one of these episodes that we did in the office, talking like the most likely to get extended. Well, obviously everyone knows at least not. McLean had those kind of little whispers in the spring training last year before everything got started, and I don't know. Yeah, it would be nice. It'd be nice to have a player around here more than their 6 years of team control. That'd be really nice to see Sal get rewarded for this. Some sort of, I don't know, Lawrence Butler type of contract extension, 7 years and 67, 70 million. That'd be nice. I don't know. I don't know if he would take it. Right now, he's one of the best hitters in baseball, so it's kind of hard to. He probably, his agent would probably say, wait. We'll wait till the money keeps going up and up and up after the CBA, whatever ends up happening. Yeah. Hey, you know what? He's in the 4 hole for a reason, man. They're pitching him because they're not pitching to Ellie. So, again, another thing to trust Tito. We had, he was in the 4 hole because of experience and the ability to hit fastballs and off-speed pitches behind Ellie. If Sal's going to be our best hitter, second best hitter, he's got to be getting more at bats. Move him up in the lineup. Hit him 2 if you have to, right? That usually, at least in the modern analytics game, that's the guy who's generally your best hitter, right? Because getting more at bats isn't the leadoff guy, gets to see what the guy's working with and stuff like that. But neither here nor there. Tito's got his kind of own ways where he makes sure he does his left-right-righting and also puts him in it and what have you. But, man, this is kind of like a crazy set of events that we have this guy that is basically just less than 30 games into his major league career is setting the world on fire. This is just fantastic. He can keep this up. This will help us be a really competitive franchise in the month of April, because that's the month that we tend to struggle. We tend to not hit. So having him in this team is a must every single day.
Yeah, it's just like I don't have words to describe how awesome this is. Like, it's just, other than bringing up Ellie in 23, it's the last time we've had a player like this was what, Joey Votto, 2008. I mean, Jay Bruce, 2008. Like, I can't really think of a prospect that's come up and just hit like this. Yeah, thank you, Nick Castellanos. I know Nick Kirby mentioned that on their post game show on, I think it was opening day or Saturday. But had Nick Castellanos not, had he had stayed, we wouldn't have had that comp pick, and we wouldn't have Sal Stewart unless they took him earlier in the first round and not drafted Cam Collier. So, yeah, I mean, I'm out of words to describe the kid. I coming into his career, I didn't see Albert Pujols, but now that I'm seeing people talk about it, now I see it. And maybe it's just bias because he's our guy, but man, if he could become 70% of Albert Pujols, he could take this team a long way.
Absolutely, yeah. I obviously learned of the Salbert Pujols nickname, probably after everyone else, but that is unusually a great comp in terms of just having a complete hitting profile, right? He can hit for average, he can go the other way, he can hit bombs. He seems to have all the tools, and obviously playing first base and being able to play every single day with his young energy and stuff like that. It's probably the only thing that's different between Sal and him is that, I think the nickname for Pujols was the Machine because he didn't show any emotion and whatnot. While this kid is all about it, and we love it every single time. Like I told you, I went to his
He's the emoji.
debut. Yeah, I went to his debut last year, September 1st, and he made the team. He just reinvigorated this team. That's exactly what they needed at that time after having a terrible August. He seemed to not only just hit, but also just pump everybody up with his energy. That will go a long way over 162. Hopefully he keeps that same energy, keeps that hitting, because man, this team will need him some days, just like our next guy, Gino. But any other thoughts on Sal before we move on to Eugenio?
No, it's just, I'm just glad we got him, and I'm glad that we didn't start him out in AAA.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Mike. Thanks. Freezing cold takes from Mike Valentine. Yeah. But yeah, shout out Lawrence. Got the win today. Gino that finally got overall. This is why we signed Gino. The Gino bombs. We know he comes with the strikeouts. We know he comes with not being able to possibly run out and beat out, down the line to first base, beat out a infield or anything like that. This is a guy that we're gonna. Sometimes he's going to go missing. Sometimes he's going to have a golden sombrero, 4 strikeouts. But on a Sunday, getaway day for the Boston Red Sox. They obviously put out a pretty decent lineup. They have a pretty strong lineup no matter who they're changing in and out. Had a pretty good early. I wasn't familiar with his game. The pitcher for Boston on the radio, I heard he was dealing for a while. So, like, this was a game that, like Ricky said at the top of the show, a game we probably lose more times than not. Rhett Lauder gave up the 2-run homer, and basically it was like, oh, it's Sunday. These guys, maybe their juice is not there anymore because they had 2 games. They used it all up in the extra inning game on Saturday, kids opening day. This game might get away from them because they just don't have it. No. That's why we got Gino. Gino's there to save us with one swing of the bat. Boom. 3-2 win. I don't know. You were out of words about Sal. I'm kind of out of words about this because, like, this is what you kind of have to expect. You know, he's not going to do this every single game. He's obviously good enough to hit 49 homers in a game, but if he's doing this every third game, I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just something this team has sorely lacked over the past 4 years, 5 years. Just a guy that can put the ball in the seats when you desperately need it. And, you know, he did. He's only batting like 111 or 169 or something like that to start the year. 167. Yeah. But he came through in the clutch when you needed him to, and I think there's gonna be a whole lot more of that the rest of the season. You could make the argument maybe he was pressing the first opening day. There was the bases loaded opportunity. There was another situation where he struck out. I think he was 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position to start the year out. So maybe he's pressing. He's back where he's familiar. He's trying to put the ball in the seats. And I think if he just goes back to the player that he knows he is, you can just bookmark it for 30 home runs. And just having the ability to put the ball in the upper deck at will just is great. Just, we needed it more than anything. We were, struggling offensively for a little while, especially after opening day. And to finish the game with 7 hits today with him having that massive home run is just speechless.
Yeah. We have to kind of take the good with the bad with Gino. He started at third base. It didn't disappoint there so much. I know Ellie he bobbled one that ended up being counted as a hit. I don't know exactly. I didn't see the play.
Yeah, anyway, it wasn't ruled in there.
Right. So, I think so far in 3 straight games, the Reds haven't committed an error, which, that's pretty good for this ball club, especially where they've come from in terms of kind of had that chaos ball and undisciplined play and all that. So we'll hopefully keep this going forward into the next couple series as well. Hopefully I'm not jinxing them in that sense, but it is definitely a refreshing thing to have a guy that could change the game on one swing. That is the thing we lacked, I think, last year a lot. If your leading home run hitter is a guy that had a torn quad or partially torn quad for the whole back half of the season after the All-Star break and still led your team in home runs, you probably have a problem, right?
Yeah.
And the other guy, Steer, was playing hurt half the season with half of his body not working and can't throw the ball with his right hand because he's got to play DH to start out the year. So, that's not ideal. I don't know home runs. It's not the launch angle era anymore. Now we've got banned the shift and all that. So now guys can for edge a little bit more. I wouldn't be surprised if the next couple of years we start seeing an uptick in batting averages again. But that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is that we got a guy that can make a difference. And that is nice to have because it's not just Ellie or it's not just Steer. Now we have the options of Sal Stu and Gino. Those are 4 guys that can change the game possibly in one swing. And then maybe every once in a while, Will Benson. Every once in a while, who am I thinking?
Matt McClain's batting 400 to start the year.
Yeah, exactly. I guess I'm trying to say is we got more options to make differences out there on the field, and that's massive because it takes the whole team to win 90 games, right? And that's luckily we're already 88 games away from that getting 90. And now I'm like I said, I'm trying not to let the wins and losses affect my move too bad because after opening day I was kind of like, okay, back to 2025 Reds where we're not going to hit lefties and we're going to strike out and not move any runners over. We got bases loaded, 1 out. No. Okay. A little bit too soon. And then luckily for us, luckily for my mood and the rest of my family, is it upticked the last two games. So it's good, and it feels good to have, I guess, this type of I don't know how to describe it. Just as this type of team that could perform this way against a good team. We're not doing it against the Rockies or the Marlins. This is against a pretty decent team. Garrett Crochet was second in Cy Young. They got Roman Anthony, who looks great as an option up there as his second full season, I believe. So, like, wow, I don't know. I guess I'm more impressed at the response of these Redlegs to the opening day disappointment. So, kudos to them.
Yeah. William Wright brings up in the chat Connor Phillips on Saturday. Yeah, he looked really good. I know he struggled on the opening day. I have a lot of faith in him. I've said it, 1,000 times on this show, but I think he could be one of their better relievers in the bullpen, and that's including Ashcraft and Santillan and Pagan and Burke and Johnson and whoever else you want to name out there. I think Phillips can be arguably their best reliever in the bullpen if he just can gain consistency in who he is. And Ashcraft, I mentioned him just a second ago, but he had 101 mile per hour cutter on opening day. I don't know if you saw that pitch, but good Lord, that thing was nasty. Pitching Ninja had highlighted that pitch. There was the 9 fastest pitches on opening day, where I think it was 5 of them were Mason Miller of the Padres, and then there was 2 other guys, and then there was Graham Ashcraft with that 101 mile per hour cutter. Just absolute filth. But it was good to see Pagan today kind of get better, look good, inning, a hit, did walk somebody. Santillan, his velocity looks down a tick. Hopefully he's just saving it. Maybe he's anticipating pitching 80 games again, and he's not wanting to go 100% start the year. But yeah, Burke today also inning in a third, a walk and a hit. So they looked a lot better today than they had. But the bullpen struggled game 1, but I feel good about them also.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, just to highlight Connor Phillips again. Fred says he wasn't a big fan, but he was elite the other night. If he can get that type of confidence that he got, that was game 161 that they won against Brewers last year, that his out of there to shut down the Brewers and make them look silly.
Yeah,
that's the Connor Phillips. That's like peak Connor Phillips. And if he can regain that form and be consistent throughout the year, I mean, he might be a guy that might be the first guy out of the pen, or possibly a closer down the line, like you've I think predicted on the show. So like they got lots of options. Even if Pagan may be showing his age a little bit and blow some saves from here and there, they still got some arms that they could throw in there, like Tony Santillan. Big Tony could be possibly an emergency closer, or Phillips down the line, or maybe he's the 2027 closer. Who knows? It's good to see that the bullpen got back on track, because that's going to be a big part of this club in terms of when we win or lose games, because they're going to be called upon probably a lot like they were last year. They're going to be called upon to be in high leverage situations to get out of it. It'll be very interesting to see how this bullpen performs. And we said that Tito does a great job managing his bullpen, so I'm not too concerned. It's just a matter of these guys, if they're going to be called upon and perform well. That's the thing, right? Because they got that rule where you gotta face at least 3 batters. You can't just be doing the thing where they face one guy and pull right away. So we gotta have some faith in Tito and the bullpen, and hopefully we will going forward, because they look better the last 2 days than the first one. So
yeah, for sure.
But yeah, if we all move on, Gino is back. He regained that World Baseball Classic form. But one guy who's not in midseason form seems to be CB Buckner. And he was atrocious, to say the least. And the funny thing is, it's before the game, I think it was Sam LeCure, right?
Yeah.
Sam LeCure basically called him out, saying he's the worst umpire in the league, more or less. And it was so like, I guess we should have got his ABS sooner, is what I'm trying to say. And I know everyone's making the Angel Hernandez jokes, and everyone's going out there and and basically ripping CB Buckner on his scorecard and everything like that. But now they got ABS. You got to use it wisely because you might be like the Boston Red Sox and basically burn them out before you get to the really big innings and the extra innings, right? Do they get one back in the extras? I forget the rule on that. But that
I'm not sure.
they might get one extra in extra innings, I want to say. But anyway, point that CB Buckner had a day. And I don't know how these guys could take it for their ego, to be honest with you, because I don't think they go out there to basically stink. They don't go out there to really kind of go out there and get a horrible scorecard. I'm sure they see it too. This is not just them in a stinking vacuum thinking that they're the best. Well, except for maybe Angel Hernandez. He probably didn't hear the criticism at all. But maybe CB Buckner is a little bit like that too with his tunnel vision. But I don't know. Well, I think, Ricky, you also had the take, and I'll let you have it. You had a great take on AAS and CB Buckner and the Reds, so I'll let you have the floor now.
Yeah, so before I get into that, umpire scorecards, bless them for continuing their tradition of putting out umpire scorecards after every game for every team. And it was awful. 88% overall accuracy, 91% overall consistency. Relative accuracy was negative 5.5%, below expected. And it was overall in favor of Boston for 1 run. He was 6 for 8 overall on ABS challenges. And I put a thing out there on X Saturday that if an umpire has, let's just say for the sake of the Reds, 5 ABS challenges overturned from you in particular, there needs to be some repercussion for what that is, because that just shows that you're terrible at your job. And I get it, like there's a human element to being an umpire, but you got to be better than that. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. And you can make the argument if CB Buckner's your umpire, you should get 3 challenges because you're gonna need it. And then the thing that I put out that I was just like a hot take was this. My hot take for 2026 is that the Reds will be the best team in baseball with ABS challenges. Well, as of today, they are leading baseball with 6 correct ABS challenges. The next closest is 5. I just had the tweet pulled up. Cincinnati has 6, San Francisco, Minnesota, and the Yankees have 5. Kansas City and San Diego have 4. Miami, Chicago White Sox, the Red Sox, Diamondbacks, Angels, Blue Jays, and Washington have 3. The Dodgers, Mariners, Phillies, Rays, Mets, Athletics, Tigers, and Cubs have 2. Cleveland's got 1. And then the rest of the NL Central sucks.
Yeah. They're going to be the very least the best at challenging it for that. And I want to say for the Reds, they had a couple today, right?
They would have had 1 today because they had 5 yesterday.
Yeah. Okay. So that is updated. So it's kind of crazy. And CB Buckner, oh my goodness, worst umpire. He did not come out and have a great debut behind the plate for sure. I don't even know. And Mark's calling out here, ABS should call every ball and strike. We might get there robo umpires. If this is going to be, hopefully CB Buckner is the extreme out there outlier, what have you, because that would be rough if he is kind of middle of the road to good on the umpire scale. We'll have to find out and how this season goes and see and kind of track that. But Buckner also called balls some strikes, and Gino and ABS proved them wrong. That wasn't at the Saturday game. He challenged like 3 straight pitches and got them all right, and Buckner got them all wrong. So it's like, okay, well, I'm glad that it's not a situation like challenges in like the NFL where if you use one, you lose it basically, or like a timeout, I guess I should say. Luckily you keep your 2 if you keep getting them right, because good gracious, that would be rough if we have to only use 2 and you lose them both when you use them, because there'd be like 6 or 7 calls after that would be missed at the very least. So I don't know. It's interesting. I'm not exactly sure where we go from here in terms of robo umps, and we'll maybe that'll be an off-season topic where they probably have to experiment with that in the minors first and see how that goes. To be honest with you, so we'll have to see that and what have you, because they like to experiment a lot with different rule changes. I think there's even a couple rule changes in terms of like you can't leave the box at all for like lower A this season unless you call a timeout. But even if it's forget there was some tweak to like stepping out of the box rule.
I know in AAA have the check swing replay. That's a new rule too.
Yeah.
Today in Baltimore there was 10 challenges in the game. 7 were overturned.
Who was behind the? Did we know who the offender was? We just call out umpire. It's not an umpire calling out show. We try not to exactly.
It was Angel Hernandez.
Yeah, right. My goodness. Yeah, that was definitely flying everywhere. The Angel Hernandez jokes left and right for Mr. CB Buckner. Unfortunately, I don't think he wants to be associated with Mr. Hernandez. He was one of one. Hopefully we'll never have another Angel Hernandez again. But yeah, not necessarily a ump bashing show, because most of the times when you get bad calls go your way, or usually when you have bad calls go against you early in the season, the law of numbers, law of averages, maybe later in the season you get a call and you steal a couple games or a series later in the season. Baseball has a big sample size, right, of 162. So you sometimes it ends up being a little off kilter. Maybe you get a little bit more bad calls than good calls, but over time, hopefully it all comes out in the wash. But ABS should also clean that up as well, right? It should be making it a lot more even, like as we speak currently, as we play, you know what I mean? So I don't know. We'll see.
And I think overall, like, I don't know if you saw the Geno at bat where he had the back-to-back pitches overturned, but just the crowd in that was just, they had 2 home runs that game, and they were louder for that than they were for the home runs. And I'm here for it, man. I think it's good for the game. We saw that with the pitch clock. I think Cincinnati is just the king of it with those new rules, like the pitch clock, counting down the pitch clock. Granted, they need to do better at counting down the time ahead of the actual time.
Yeah.
And not counting the actual time. Like be smart about it, guys. And then with this, just being as loud as they were, it was awesome.
Yeah, we'll go a little bit of tangent here. Since 2023, I know he is one of the most annoying at the press conference commissioners in all of sports, calling the World Series trophy a piece of metal and all the other sins that he's made along the way in terms of just opening his mouth when he doesn't need to. But maybe if Manfred just doesn't say anything and just implements these changes that he's been doing the last 3, 4, 5 years, he could have a chance of making a run at Goodell as a top commissioner. And somehow Goodell is now the top commissioner of all that, but this is not an NFL show. I guess I'm trying to say the changes that they've made, especially as sticky and stuffy as baseball is toward change, like it's been great. Like you said, just having an ABS challenge, kind of like the Hawkeye system in tennis, gets the fans into it. You get the ooh, and then you can celebrate or boo it, whatever you want to do, but it gets the fans engaged.
Yeah, and I think they need to implement a version of that for like ball in the glove, runner's foot on base for those, because I think there's a lot of calls that are still judgment calls on those. I think we saw that on opening day where I forget who it was, but they might have been Stewart tried to, or no, I don't remember who it was, but they tried to outrun a ball to first base and they challenged it, and it was they didn't overturn it. They still called him out. But when you look at the replay, it looked like the foot got there before the ball did.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a gray area of like, where does it count when the ball's in the glove? Yeah. Is it when it goes into the glove, or is it when it actually connects with the glove? I think they haven't really deciphered that.
I think the way that Major League Baseball does the rules, it's when it enters the glove, which is subjective, I guess, in terms of what it actually means. But it should be kind of when the glove, anyway, we're getting really into the weeds on this stuff. But I think that is the thing. But yeah, if we can get into a challenge system into that call, that could be massive as well. I don't know how exactly we would how the umpires would legislate that, or how if they would push back on that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Anyway, just to get through a couple comments. Yeah, Sonny Gray isn't a fan of ABS though. So like the way he made his comments after the game on Saturday, right? So like he wasn't like liking the, I don't know, the process or whatever. It's pretty quick. I don't understand.
Quick. It takes like 8 seconds.
Whatever. I think it's just because it didn't break his way, and basically they were challenging pitches that weren't strikes. So like, what are you gonna do? Throw strikes? Like,
yeah, it's like you got to be a master of the strike zone now. You have to know what the strike zone is, and you got to be able to get the guys to chase now. Like, because if they're not chasing and that ball's out of the zone, they're going to challenge it. And, I think it's long overdue. And I wanted to point out the umpire in the Baltimore game was Chris Siegel. Don't know much about him, but he was challenged 10 times on Sunday.
This comment though hit me because I saw something. How long till the Astros hack it? Probably soon. But anyway, I saw some headline that the Brewers have some sort of ABS tracking system, and I don't know exactly if it was in spring training or something, but like somebody like pointed that out, and now it's banned from the dugout. They have some sort of, it's not a TV monitor because those are for sure banned. But I have to look into it, and maybe we'll.
Yeah, they shouldn't be able to have anything when it comes to that. It should be subjective to the hitter, the catcher, the pitcher. That's all that needs to know.
Yeah, and it's kind of interesting because opening day they had the box around it. And I thought they were getting rid of the box. I don't remember exactly the situation, but it's definitely a at least for the television viewers, where we can kind of tell if it's in the strike zone or not. So I thought they were doing away with that, just in case somebody goes down into the clubhouse and turns on the TV and stuff like that, or has it on their phone. You know what I mean? Like, I thought that was trying to prevent that type of cheating, but I don't know. Maybe that's just specific to certain broadcasts that aren't available to the clubhouses is my guess.
Leave it to the Brewers to be cheaters. Maybe that's why they're so good.
It could be. I mean, the Astros won a bunch of World Series. Nobody talks about when they hacked the Cardinals minor league system in 2011.
Yeah, they knew who was doing what. That's crazy. I forgot all about that.
That was the start of the cheating. I mean, maybe they have something even before that, but that was when I started to really get wised up to the Astros and their wicked ways. But I don't know. Any other thoughts on the ABS or CB Buckner?
No, I'm just glad it's here, and I just hope that this kind of weans out terrible umpiring, and we can just start to look ahead. And I did want to say one more thing about you mentioned Commissioner Rob Manfred. Mm-hmm. As much as there's a lot of things I despise about what he's done to the game, I think he deserves the credit for the pitch clock and ABS and accepting that going forward. He mentioned that, I think he said 2029 or 2030 is around the time he's going to retire. And I think that, depending on what happens with the CBA this year, there's going to be, this is what's going to be the largest impact of his legacy. Because when you mention, calling the commissioner's trophy just a piece of metal, like that's, a lot of these players, they bust their ass to go out there and win that piece of metal. And there's a lot of teams that haven't won that piece of metal in a very, very long time that would do just about anything to win that piece of metal. We saw that with Houston when they go out and they go and cheat. And the Reds, haven't won since 1990. The Pirates haven't won since the 70s, and, there's teams that have never won it. Seattle, is one that I'm thinking of. So depending on what happens with the CBA and what happens with that, and what if they get a salary cap, if not, if there's any way to get some competitive balance for the middle small market teams. I'm not saying you got to make it completely even. You just have to make it sway, let's just say 60-40, as opposed to what it is now, like 80-20. And, that could be the biggest impact of his legacy going on his way out.
And right before he leaves in 29 or 30, the consolidation of all the broadcast deals and packaging them to get the best price out there for all that is around that same time. So those two things are really going to define his legacy. Like you said, I think this is a good first step. The rule changes of 23 and now the ABS changes. Like that's good. He's passed. In fact, he's making other leagues kind of look silly. Like the NFL has some weird rule changes with their kickoff stuff that people hate. I don't hear a lot of people hating on the ABS other than Sonny Gray, and maybe some other fuddy-duddies that are not thinking you should challenge. It should be more human element. Fine, whatever. Then don't get into betting, because a lot of people go into betting, and if they're going to bet that Dominican Republic is going to beat USA, and they get that ball 4 when it should be strike 3 or vice versa.
Oh man,
a lot of money goes both ways on that. So that's what I'm saying is we got to clean this up, make sure it's the cleanest game possible, so that there isn't any shenanigans or cheating that happens a lot in baseball, right? So
yeah,
I'm all for it. If he can land a great CBA for the players and the owners, and then also land a great TV deal, Manfred could somehow go from being one of the most hated commissioners when he first started in the first 10, 15, 5 years, whatever it was, to now changing his legacy 180 degrees. That'd be crazy. So
yeah, and we would have never thought this 2 years ago.
No, for sure. Any other thoughts on that? I wanted to sneak in some Louisville Bats talk because programming note, we're doing Minor League Mondays tomorrow, but we already taped the show because we're previewing Dayton and Daytona and their possible rosters and whatnot. They start their season this week. Daytona starts, I believe, on the 2nd. Actually, both of them start on the 2nd. It's Chattanooga that starts on the 3rd for some reason. So all 3 of those teams have already started or about to start this week. But the Louisville Bats have started, have been playing great, swept the Kevin Newman Omaha Storm Chasers. So shout out to them. Shout out to Chase Petty. Shout out to Julian Aguiar. Shout out to Davis Daniel, who actually pitched really well today. So I don't know where you want to start with them, but they look great. Obviously, a lot of people were throwing around to take best AAA team of all time. We will see. They're undefeated. They could go 132-0, I guess, or how many ever games they play. But that would be kind of strange to have all these guys killing it in AAA and not helping out the Major League club if we start to struggle. But that's neither here nor there. Any thoughts about these Louisville Bats and how they started their first series?
Yeah, I mean, they scored 18 runs in 3 games, only allowing 10. So it's ideal. You have Chase Petty go out Friday night and look major league ready. He picked up right where he left off in the spring breakout game. He goes 4 2/3, allowed, I think, 4 hits, 6 strikeouts, or 8 strikeouts and just a walk. So he's got his command down, and that has been the issue his entire minor league career. And if he's figuring that out, man, look out. And I talked to Trevor Kunsel after the game on Friday, just asking him a little bit about Petty, and because he was, he got a good perspective from the bullpen, and then he was the first guy up out of the bullpen relieving him, and he said, man, that changeup was nasty. And that's a new changeup from him. He's developed what they call it, a kick change, where he kind of spikes the finger like a knuckleball kind of thing over, almost like a knuckle curve, but a changeup version of it.
Yeah.
And if he's locating that and it's moving that way, I think he could very well be ready to come up, middle of the season. I don't know what they're going to do this year with trades or whatnot, because we've kind of talked about it with Lodolo. I don't see them trading him, just for 2 reasons. I don't think anybody's going to want to trade for him now, with the blisters being a reoccurring issue, and 2, you can't really afford to trade him if he's going to pitch well. So it's 2 sides to a coin. You don't want to let him walk either, and that's what's going to suck about it all. And then you got Brady Singer. What happens with him long term? Because I think this is his last year of under contract, so he's going to be a free agent after this year. So I guess if Singer walks, you can just slide Petty up into that role next year, and then you have a rotation with 7 legit starters with Green and Lodolo and Burns, Louder, Williamson, and Petty. It's there's going to have to be decisions made. But Aguilar looked good on Saturday. That was his first start back after Tommy John in 24 with Williamson. And Davis Daniel, I don't know much about him, but he looked. I had the game on the first 3 innings or so, and I watched him score 6 in the first inning today. And Daniel was just like he was just lights out. He was locating all of his pitches, and guys were chasing left and right. And yeah, I mean, CES hit a homer yesterday. Reese Hines is batting over 400, I believe, to start the year.
Yep.
Blake Dunn, I think, is the leading hitter on the team currently. If not, he's right up there with Hines. I know those two are the 2 guys that are hitting the most. And JJ Bleday has been struggling a little bit to start the year. You know, it's the first series of the season. You know, take it with a grain of salt, but you know, he's going to be a contributor at the major league level this year too, I believe. But yeah, I mean, it was a fun series.
Yeah, absolutely. Davis Daniel was a free agent signing this January for the Redlegs, so not too much known about him. But yeah, he played a little bit in where is that AAA last year for this team. So he's got experience. He might be a guy that might be a great depth piece possibly down the road if need be and whatnot. Also wanted to shout out Big Country. Carrick put out Andrew Chafin, who was just signed like 3 minutes ago, I think, and then like made his debut like literally right after that. Struck out 3 out of 4. A guy from Kettering, Ohio, not too far from here, just north of Dayton. Actually kind of like just right by Dayton right there. So like not too far away from that. Also, a guy that's older than you, Ricky, if you can believe that, born in 1990, pitching out there for your Louisville Bats. I think they like him enough, and Carrick likes him enough, or thinks he likes him enough, that they could be called up to date Cincinnati into the big league club sooner than later. He's got lots of experience. He debuted, it looked like, in 2014, so he's been in the majors and around the majors for a long time. So we will see, and I think here, like Fred's talking about, he could be a Mole replacement if Mole starts struggling, and that we'll take that if he's dealing and he can do that. That'd be awesome. I know also you had mentioned Blake Dunn. I was watching the game cast on the first game, and he took like an 8 or 9 pitch at bat to start the season. And as a leadoff hitter, he could be a guy that maybe I was trying to look at the comment. TJ has been losing a step. I think had been mentioned a couple times. I'm not putting that take out there, but maybe TJ, his natural place is Dane Myers and or Blake Dunn, depending on what we're doing for the ball club in 2027. I'm not trying to get rid of TJ Free. I'm not trying to trade him or anything like that, but like he might be a situation where the Reds even admitted he played too many games last year. And if that means Dane Myers is playing more the way he's playing, I'm all for that. If it's Blake Dunn's killing it in AAA and looks like a natural leadoff hitter, I'm all for that as well. Let's get Blake Dunn up into this club if he's needed. You know, if the offense is struggling, if TJ's struggling, whatever, he gets hurt or what have you. Would love to see Blake Dunn up at the majors because we know that he struggled at the start of 2025, hitting 100, 150 for a long time during that stretch. Maybe it's totally different this time around. Maybe he's learned from that, gotten stronger, gotten better. Would love to see a Blake Dunn up sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, he hit well over 300 to end the year last year for Louisville, and just it's a funny sport, baseball. Just confidence is one of the biggest things to deal with baseball, and I feel a lot better knowing that the major league roster has Dane Myers and Will Benson as your depth, as opposed to Blake Dunn and Jacob Hurtubise to start the year. And then that's not discounting Blake Dunn this year. That's just saying like he shouldn't have been the guy that you're relying on being that 5th outfielder or 4th outfielder. Spencer Steer got some outfield play on Thursday. And I'll give myself a little pat on the back here. I feel pretty good about I was pretty close on that opening day lineup. I got some heat on social media about it, but the only thing I didn't know about was Stewart being talked about as a cleanup hitter. I think I made that at like early in the morning, and they announced it that night or something after I'd already posted it. But yeah. And then I see Fred points out in the chat the Reds have a catcher problem. Yeah, it's like, but they have a long-term catcher problem too. Just it's Stevenson's last year, and you're relying on Trevino the next year. And Banfield did homer today, so maybe he's a guy that comes up and does something for us for the next couple of years before Duno's ready.
Yeah, very well could be, and yeah, catcher problems not a bad thing because we've had, like you said, not so great catching since basically Tucker Barnhart to Stevenson. Now is hopefully he'll put together a good season. We haven't really talked about him that much this show or this weekend, but that's kind of been a good thing. That's I know our guy Reds Daily, Greg Kuffner, talks about like if you get rid of Stevenson, where do you get his production? Well, like if we don't need Stevenson, if Suarez and Sal Stu
Ellie and McLean and Stewart
are producing, it only becomes a bigger issue for Stevenson if he's not producing because all the rest of the guys aren't as well. So yes, it's a give and take.
Yeah, when you're banking on him being your offense, when teams shouldn't rely on your catcher being your offense. Having a catcher with offensive ability is a plus. It's just like the Royals, go back 10 years ago or whatever. Like Salvador Perez, yeah, he was their power hitter, but they had guys around him that could hit, and he was driving them in to score runs.
For sure. Any other thoughts on the guys down in Louisville? They start again on Tuesday, so hopefully they'll keep this momentum going. I also want to shout out Trevor Kunsel as well. He had a 4-out inning for Louisville to secure the win on their opening day on Friday, and he looked pretty good. I think I had a strikeout, didn't give up any hits, so shout him out for his good performance in his first AAA appearance ever. So
yeah, I'll say this: he's looked a whole lot better than Luis May and Zach Maxwell to start the year down there. I know that they're on the 40-man. I think Kunsel and Antone could be those two guys that are the next two up out of that bullpen. There's going to have to be roster moves made to make that happen. But Antone's looked like a totally capable pitcher now. He struggled last year back. Obviously, he had 3 Tommy John surgeries. I think that if he can, not have that thought in the back of his head and just go out there and pitch like he knows he can, I think he can be a really, I don't want to say elite reliever, but above average reliever. And Kunsel, he's just 27. And I know, like, you see the age and go, oh, he's been pitching for a long time. No, he started pitching in college, and he went unsigned out of college and went independent leagues. So he's really only been pitching for like 4 years. So this year is his second full season in affiliate ball. So he's doing pretty well for the situation he's been given. And I'm here for it. He's a good dude.
For sure. Yeah, and he looks like he's starting off on a great start, on the right foot, and hopefully we'll keep that going as well for the bats. And yeah, William Wright points out Devin Mesoraco was a decent catcher. He had that one good year, All-Star year, I want to say.
Injuries just derailed him.
Yeah, and that's a common thing for catchers, man. To have a catcher last as long as like a Jose Trevino, maybe backup catcher. It's kind of like maybe like backup quarterback. The backup quarterback is always a lot more healthy than the starting quarterback, if you ever notice.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We're moving on, I think, now to our next week. This is a big week because, like you said, some a little bit softer opponents. Obviously, the hated Pirates come to town. I will actually be in attendance tomorrow to see Chase Burns, and I'll give you some notes, maybe an update to see how Chase does in his first action in 2026 for the regular season. He's looked good. Like his last time out, he looked good against that hated Brewers team in that exhibition or whatever on Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever he was doing it, or Monday. But anyway, he's going to be on the bump tomorrow. And then we got, I think, back around to I just had this.
We'll have Brandon Williamson on Tuesday.
Yep. And then back to Abbott versus Skeens on Wednesday. That'll be interesting to see. Then they go out to Texas for 3 games starting on Friday, ending on Easter Sunday. But then Stinger gets game 1, Louder gets game 2 possibly, and then Burns gets a 2-start week. Hopefully 2 W's for him. What are some thoughts that you had about this upcoming week?
Just hit every ball to center field. Just hit every ball right at O'Neal Cruz because you're going to score a lot of runs.
Yeah. Do you think a small tangent? Do you think they should give up on this project of putting him out there? Like put him out and left. You know what I mean?
I just DH him. I mean, if he's going to be your guy, like just let him be your offensive guy because he's terrible on defense. And they want to talk about Ellie. At least he can make an out. Like we're not seeing O'Neal Cruz make an out. He's awful. And I like O'Neal Cruz. I'm not saying that I don't like O'Neal Cruz. I like his game. He's fast, hits the ball like extremely hard. He's just terrible defensively, and it's gonna be a test. Hit every ball to center field if he's out there. Just see what happens.
Yeah, might as well. You never know. He might make it out. You never know. That might be. We'll give a sarcastic applause.
He might get a louder cheer than the ABS system if he gets an out.
Yeah, I don't know. The thing I worry about with this Red Leagues team, they'll go into, even though the Pirates are the Pirates, is that they'll play down to their level. That's the thing I don't want to see right out the bat. Get the first 2 wins. Okay, fine. Maybe we'll let Skeens have one. Totally fine with that. If we're going into game 3 and it's a rubber match, I'm not feeling great about winning the Pirates series, especially because we're coming off the high of beating, the Red Sox, who are a good team. And maybe that is kind of the vibes of 2025. The Reds tended to, play up to their competition in 2025 and then kind of played down to their competition a bit in 2025. So that hopefully is not the story here in 2026 at all. That's my only worry about this opening series against the hated Pirates.
Yeah, my favorite meme that I saw over the weekend was ever seen that meme where the guy's getting married and he turns around and sees the bride and he starts crying. And then the meme says every time Paul Skeens turns around and sees a ball hit the O'Neal Cruz, like it cracked me up. But nonetheless, like Braxton Ashcraft is a pretty solid pitcher for Pittsburgh. That's who we're facing on Monday.
Yep.
He's a big dude. He's like 6'5". He throws pretty hard. He's a righty. He's a righty. Should have some good splits against him just with the lineup. We might see Nathaniel Lowe's season debut on Monday. That'd be kind of cool. I doubt they rest Ke'Bryan Hayes in back-to-back games, but it would be kind of cool to see Suarez at third, Stewart at first, Lowe at DH. But I don't know what they do with that. But I think Monday is going to be the Nathaniel Lowe Reds debut, just facing a right-handed pitcher. And maybe they give Stewart a day off, but I would rather not. Let him stay hot. Just keep him going. I think Francota's smart enough. He's young. Like he played LA 162. I think he's gonna play Sal like 160. So
that'd be huge. That'd be huge. I hope so. That's gonna be interesting. Like you said, the Suarez, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Nathaniel Lowe, Sal Stu kind of logjam of sorts. But I don't know. It'd be interesting how we see the lineup on Monday.
Yeah. Then Tuesday, Bubba Chandler versus Brandon Williamson. I think he was one of their top prospects a year ago, wasn't he, Bubba Chandler?
Yep.
A really good pitcher. He had a 4.02 ERA last year in 7 games. I think he's going to be a better pitcher than that. But, like you mentioned, they need to not play down to the Pirates level. And I don't care if the Pirates finish in 3rd this year in the division. You still can't play down to the Pirates because I think offensively we're a better team than the Pirates, and I think pitching wise, you take Skeens out of that rotation, I think we have just as good as a rotation as the Pirates. They're a lot younger, and defensively their defense is awful. And that's not just O'Neal Cruz; they have really bad defenders on that team.
Yeah, definitely the Pirates series is the one to win because now I'm looking at the Texas probables. We got, like I said, Singer, Louder, Burns, but the guys going for Texas probably Nathan Eovaldi in game 1, Mackenzie Gore in game 2, and Jack Leiter in game 3. And that's That's pretty solid competition right there. I remember Evaldi having a good game against us last year around this time. We played Texas like early April last year. I remember the torpedo game against I forget who they blew up, but like the 2 home runs, and then it was like
Kumar
the debut
Rocker.
for. Oh yeah, it was also against I think the Singer. Like Singer had like 14 runs of support in his debut.
Yeah, it was
So,
awesome.
yeah, for sure. So, what are your thoughts about this Texas series coming up?
Yeah, I think Texas played down last year. I think they're a better team than what they were last year. Obviously they won the World Series in 23, right?
Yep.
They got a lot of talent on that team. Corey Seager, obviously, is perennial all-star. Leiter, he's a really good pitcher. Jack Leiter.
Yep.
They got some good talent. Mackenzie, what was it? Who's what am I blanking on? You just said his name.
Mackenzie Gore.
Mackenzie
Yep.
Gore, yeah. Really good pitcher. A lot of good pitching in that series. And if I remember right, the last time I remember they played out in Texas, it didn't really go our way. I think that was in 23 or 24. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna rely on Burns and Louder, I think, in that series. So really need to see what the young guys got going on the road first time of the season. And really would like to see the offense pick it up more too, outside of Stewart and McLean and Dane Myers.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's kind of April. The advantage is still in the pitchers because of the weather, potentially, or just getting back to a regular, intense game management. Like now that it's for real, pitchers are not experimenting, right, or throwing pitches a certain way that would allow for hitters to have the advantage. No longer the case for a lot of teams. I mean, it hasn't been like a real crazy, like what was the first score of the first spring training game? The Yankees won like 20-4. I don't think we're seeing that in these next couple of weeks unless somebody just completely loses it, or maybe the White Sox will do it because they tend to stink it up at this time of year. But anyway, point being is that we should hopefully expect the same for us, that our pitchers will be on point and be able to get the job done. So far, so good, I would say, for our pitching staff, despite the injuries, despite the concern about blisters, especially with like a Singer. So we're in a good spot, I feel, and I think we'll be, I don't know, 3-3 week. I think I'll take, to be honest with you. 4-2 would be awesome.
Yeah, so the Rangers have 4 guys with an OPS over 1,000 to start the year.
All right. Well, never mind that the pitchers have the advantage. I guess the Rangers have the advantage.
Brandon Nimmo, who homered today. Andrew McCutcheon hit a double. He's batting .444 with a 1.444 OPS. Corey Seager was 0 for 3, but he's batting .364 with 1,065 OPS. Jake Berger 1 for 4 today. A 1.385 OPS. I'm gonna butcher this name. Higashioka, the catcher for them, has a 400 average, 800 OPS. Yeah, is it Ezekiel Duran? Is that his name? Their second baseman. He's 1 for 4 today. He had a double. So and then Mackenzie Gore went 5 1/3, 2 runs, 3 walks, 7 strikeouts today. So we're gonna have our work cut out against the Rangers. We really got to take advantage of the Pirates if we can. Yeah.
But I feel like we've said that before against the Pirates team. And
I will say this: the first series last year, we took advantage of the first series last year. It was the second series in the final series where we got bailed out by a Noelvi Marte robbed home run, because we don't make the playoffs if he don't make that catch.
Yep. And he's got his own bobblehead coming out soon, April 11th, I believe. So
yeah, we plan on being in attendance for that game.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to have a huge line, just like last year's Ellie bobblehead and whatnot. So be there, be square, or be square. So we'll hopefully see some fans out there in the wild and check that out. Ricky, you got anything on tap? Any writing that you got in the tank that you're going to be putting out soon?
Tomorrow I recap the the Louisville series. So I talked a little bit about how Louisville did this weekend.
They did awesome. I mean, just top to bottom. They got a game-winning hit as well on Saturday. It was kind of weird that
Reese Hines walk-off single.
Yeah, they both the big league club and them won 6-5 and walk off.
I think it CES had a home run in the ninth to tie it, I believe.
Yep.
So,
yeah. Hey, best AAA team in the country, I guess. Is what we got. So, but until then, we'll have our minor league Mondays tomorrow, pre-recorded. It'll be a premiere. We may jump in the chat. I'll be at the game, so I might jump in the chat a little bit and what have you. Previewing Dayton and Daytona. And then after that, minor league Mondays, we're going to be recapping how the week went for all these ball clubs because all 4 levels are going to be in action this week. And that'll be awesome to see. It'll be awesome to see who's starting. Check out Ricky's graphics. He's doing great putting the lineups out there for not just your Red Legs, but also Louisville, also the other teams as well down the road. And
screwed up the one the day. I put 2 right fielders in like 3 times. I was like, I give up.
It's all good. So
I was trying to get my kids ready for baseball, and I was just like, I'll throw this together real quick. And I kept putting right field. I knew it was left field every time, and I kept hitting right field.
Yeah. No worries.
Inside baseball for you.
Yeah, I would say I think I put Starlin Torres or somebody on our top 30 twice one time too. So
I remember that.
So anyway,
he's that good.
Yeah, Liebert's Aponte. That's it. Yeah, he was so good. He was the 13th and the 15th prospect. So there's that. But if you don't have anything else, Ricky, check out Minor League Mondays tomorrow. We also have Lights Out podcast on Tuesday nights going live. Check out Football with Cheese. He puts out his videos. It's almost draft time already. And then check out our show too, if you will. Subscribe, like, comment. All that good stuff. We really appreciate it.
Click that notification bell. That way you guys can get alerted whenever we post anything, whether it's a short. We trying to post more in the YouTube community threads. And if you guys have any show topics you want us to hear about, or maybe there's maybe a minor league player or somebody you want us to try to interview, like just throw out suggestions. We're open to it, and I'll reach out. Roger will reach out, or whoever. Test our luck, because we're in the season now, but we'll try to line these guys up for either the All-Star break or the off-season. That way we have some off-season content.
For sure. Yeah, we haven't done an interview in a while. I think February.
Yeah.
Anyway, season started. They're a little busy. We're a little busy. Ricky's got his kids playing as well, and all that good stuff. But yeah, check us out. We'll be on there tomorrow. Mike's on there Tuesday. Really appreciate you all. Until then, go Reds.
Go Reds.